Hello, everyone. We're live and welcome to the show. We've got this live stream today about our Snow Day highlights, and I'm delighted to have two wonderful colleagues and a data superhero with me here today. Welcome, Veronica Durgan, one of our data superheroes, and welcome, Felipe and Kent. How are you all?
Hello,
Hey,
happy
Eva.
to see you
Hel-
today.
Hello, super happy to be here.
Yes,
Very,
I'm so
very
excited to
excited.
have Veronica today.
Yes, yes. It's an honor to have you on the show. So we're going to dive into introductions, and we'd love to hear from everyone who is watching this where you're dialing in from. So leave a comment with your location, maybe time zone as well, if you like. And Veronica, I would love to have you introduce yourself to our audience and let us know what you thought of Snow Day.
Yeah, I am like fangirling here a little bit, hanging out with all these amazing people. I'm going to try not to faint, but hopefully next time I get a chance to see all of you, I'll have a t-shirt and I'll have you sign it. I'm just like so thrilled to be here. So Veronica Durgan, I'm a data superhero. I'm actually here so I can wear my superhero cape.
Woo!
Uh,
Nice.
I was looking for a reason to wear it, so now I have it. I've been working with data for over 20 years. About 5 years ago, I've met with a Snowflake rep who said, "Hey, we're building this awesome thing. It just works." And I said, "Nothing just works." Uh, 3 years ago, I actually changed jobs to get my hands on Snowflake. So it took about 2 years for me to get convinced. Love it, super excited. 3 years ago is also when I first found out about Data Vault. So you'll probably see me talking about Data Vault and Snowflake to everybody who's willing to listen and who's not willing to listen. Um, and that's how I kind of started speaking about Data Vault and Snowflake and became a data superhero. And as a matter of fact, I talk about it so much that my son, who's currently a high school senior, wrote his college essay where he said that according to my mom, Snowflake makes her life easier at work. So now college admissions people also know about Snowflake. Um, Snow Day, amazing, super excited. I mean, first of all, shout out for all the demos. I am a huge, huge fan of demos. I think demos are the hardest thing to put together. So just seeing all the features, like when you talk about it, it's awesome, but when you actually see it in action, it's amazing. And all the improvements, better everything. I mean, the engineering team, shout out for keeping and pushing the envelope to get the platform better.
That sounds really cool. I'm glad you had a good time watching Snow Day. And before I hand over to Kent, I actually want to call out our audience as well. It looks like they're kind of spread all over the world. We've got Sweden, a lot of folks from the US, we've got Argentina, Bucharest, London, Paris, and yeah, all sorts of
Yeah, I'm
places.
glad to see Argentina present. I'm from Chile, so let's see more Latin Americans. I see some Cancun there too. But yeah,
Excellent.
I'm in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Please.
And Kent, where are you?
I am in a little suburb outside of Houston, Texas.
Nice.
And Eva, you need to tell everybody where you are.
True. Yeah, I'm in London, so I'm a little bit less natural light and a bit more darkness outside, but still, yeah, really excited to be here and to talk with all of you. And Kent, I think your cue was demos.
Demos, yeah. I mean, it's amazing. We even now have a number of short YouTube videos out showing the demos for folks. And yeah, I think there's Felipe's tweet with the link on them. So if you're not following Felipe or myself or Eva or Veronica on Twitter and LinkedIn, you might want to do that because we are crazed about Snowflake and are tweeting about it all the time. And the last 3 days with Snow Day, we've filled up our streams quite a bit. For those of you who weren't able to see it live, but if you need a refresher, we got the Python demo, the cross cloud continuity demo, and the data marketplace consumption model demo. So please go take a look at all of those and refresh yourself and show them around the company for any of those non-believers out there so they can be converted into data superheroes like Veronica here, and show people what Snowflake is capable of doing, because it is way more powerful than what many people think it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of the times, it's easy to kind of just scratch the surface, but to really go deep into some of the amazing capabilities requires more of those conversations and talking to people who are using it and the people who are building it. And before we get to the next point, I want to also encourage the audience. So we're hearing all these great places everyone's from. If you have questions for any of us, please also post them in the comments. If there's anything where you want to know more, we also have our team on standby if there's anything where we can direct you to some additional resources as well.
Wow, I see somebody up very, 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 very early in Auckland, New Zealand.
I was thinking the
Good
same.
morning.
Good morning to
I
you.
would love to know what the favorite features are from the audience of everything we announced from Snowday and the demos that we showed. What features are they most excited about? So we are reading the comments live.
We'll take that one, I think, right back to Veronica.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay, so unstructured data.
Ooh.
That's like an interesting one. So I am super excited, but I'm so used to this whole thing of keeping unstructured data outside of database. So I'm kind of having these like almost like there are two sides of me. One that's like been doing this for like a long time where you don't put unstructured data into a database, and there's very exciting thing of keeping all of your data in one place. So what are we thinking, experts?
I'm a huge fan of all the data in one place because, sorry, Felipe, I'll hand over to you in a second. It's something that so many organizations struggle with. It's like one of those biggest pain points, right? That things are scattered and it's such a hassle for IT to keep track of everything and maintain and support everything. So, like you said, if everything is one place, it makes their lives so much easier. And Felipe, you've brought up something on the screen.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to call out that we have this blog post that details a lot of announcements. Of course, the big one was the big Python announcement.
They gave me
But
the
yes.
chills. I don't know about you. I was watching and I had like goosebumps on my arms. I don't know.
I still get them now.
I was like, maybe next time let's have a stuffed teddy bear, nice, fluffy, soft, and not a real python.
But yes, within all of the announcements, everyone was loving Nana the Python and Alex holding it. And not everyone was loving it. Some people are afraid of Pythons, the snakes, but not the language. But yes, here we are calling out unstructured file processing and how it's going to change things. The ability to Snowflake can now read PDFs, it can read EXIF files, it can read industry-specific files. That's really, really huge.
Yeah, and I'm a massive fan of the governance capabilities, and so the ability to actually apply RBAC and secure sharing on unstructured data, so it's treated as a first-class citizen, just like the semi-structured and structured data in Snowflake, and being able to combine all that into a single platform is really kind of mind-blowing. I'm with you, Veronica, on that. It's a definite shift in mind and how you think about it, but it's pretty incredible that we're able to do that now. And it's a great innovation and step forward for the Snowflake platform.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of people actually mentioning that Python was something that excited them, to see that. Did any of you want to elaborate a bit more what your thoughts are around that and what you've seen?
Felipe, you've been playing around
I
with
can
it.
just throw out there, like for the last 3 years, everybody I worked with in the data space used Python. And everybody was just waiting and waiting for Python to be added. And I know everybody's like super excited to just start running into Snowflake and using Python. So I'm excited to the point I actually don't know Python, but I'm like, okay, it just moved to the top of my list to learn. So I can start unleashing some capabilities.
Yes, I really want to show you our Python abilities. Part of what's exciting about Python for me are the data science libraries that Python has. So, for example, I recently wrote a blog post on how I made a decaying function faster with a JavaScript table UDF. And it's an interesting blog post. But while I was writing it, I figured out that I could make it way, way faster if I optimized the math inside the function. and then it has some matrix multiplications, and I'm sure that will be faster with Python, and I cannot wait to try it just to see how that changes, thanks to having libraries specialized in that kind of operations.
Yeah, I think along with all of this, with the unstructured data support and Python, is like we're really talking about Snowpark, right? And the developer experience now. Have you worked with that, Felipe? Did you use that for doing your development?
I'm mostly, when I use Snowflake, I like using the site that's inside of Snowflake. So I go to Snowsite, the new UI, and I try to write everything inside. I know we're also developing all these libraries so people can use Snowflake from their Python notebooks. My favorite site is the other one. I try to always be inside the Snowflake, but we are also developing these cool enhancements, like if you're writing Scala code, if you're writing Python code, to write it inside your notebooks and have the big data parts run inside the Snowflake, transparently translated from data frames.
Yeah, and that's great. And I know that's all of that's in public preview on all three of the clouds. We got it out on AWS, Google, and Azure for people to try out.
And those who are keen to see the Python demo, the team has posted a link in the comments, so check that one out as well. Okay, so what else came out of Snowday? What are we going to tackle next?
Yeah, I want to call out a comment that we have live here, that it's not only Python that's exciting, but the replication improvements.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I see it now further down, yeah.
Cross cloud, cross region. The DBA in my head's like, yay! This is incredibly exciting.
Yeah, no, that's a really important feature that we've got there with the cross cloud replication for business continuity. Being able to build some actual resilience into the architecture and have it all automated. So yeah, I can see, Veronica, where you and all the DBAs of the world are going. Yeah, we set it up once and it's done.
Finally.
Right? It's there. It's gonna take care of itself and really be able to help companies have more confidence in their infrastructure in the data cloud.
Exactly.
And if you watch the demo from that session, the snow side improvements for that specific area were just like amazing. Everything you can see just at a glance inside the GUI. So I'm also excited for that, for everything that snow side is going to bring us, the new user interface.
Yeah, I know you've worked with that a lot, haven't you, Veronica? I know you're a real fan of that one.
I am a real fan, yes.
Oh, I want to thank Jack in the comments, talking about smashing a career not in our native language. And I think I'm not alone here. Like, English is the second language for most of us here.
Yep.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Except for me.
Yeah.
But yes,
except that really cool the people in Great Britain might argue that it's not actually English that I'm speaking, but
but it's really cool to have SQL uniting us all.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I think something that has kind of come out of what the three of you have said, something that I'm hearing between the lines, is just all these capabilities that actually make people's lives easier. It's not just all the efficiencies, but also just fewer kind of headaches, fewer things to worry about, so that what you as, the DBAs, the data engineers, the data scientists can focus on is the value-added tasks and less of the, tinkering with the machines, which, can sometimes, can of course be fun, but you also want to be like, okay, let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at what else we can do now that we have those capabilities in place.
Yeah, and speaking about those, what do you all think about the improvements on the data engineering front, on enabling data pipelines, like and the things that we talked about there at Snowday?
Serverless tasks. Those are exciting.
I was just looking at my notes, like serverless task. Yes.
Yes.
Check.
And ingestion history dashboard for Snowpipe in Snowsite. So again, it's like at a glance, you probably have tools, maybe you don't, but the Snowflake is adding all these capabilities to make it easier. So you can really run a one-person data platform with Snowflake, because there are a lot of things that are just made easier and you can focus on other stuff.
Yes. How much do you use Snowpipe? at your work, Veronica?
Well, I mean, a lot. It's just like
Yeah.
if you're gonna ingest data from, a bucket somewhere, why would you use anything else?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Keep that.
I have to say, for me, it's really exciting whenever I hear how you are taking Snowflake to your own work, to your own company, like your data vault talk that's on YouTube. It's phenomenal. Like how you show how it's improved your life and the decisions you made with it. So hearing how exciting these new features are for you makes me really happy. So I want to hear more. I want to see where we are going, like through your eyes.
So can I throw data sharing? So data sharing is,
Yes.
I think, changing, like, I for me, it's still not natural quite yet to ask for data sharing, either to ingest or to unload data, I guess. We're starting to use Snowflake terminology now too. But it's just so easy. Like, it just removes that, ingestion pipelines or extraction, sending files over. How great is that? Like, I'm just, oh, this is the easiest thing I can do, and it's governed, we control it, and it's fresh data, and it doesn't break. It's like less monitoring.
Yeah, I,
Yeah.
I really love data sharing because I've worked with a lot of companies that want that capability but don't have it. So there's a lot of manual effort that you can somewhat automate, but there's these constant repetitive processes of calling APIs and sending files across and forgetting attachments and all these things, and then you need to unpack it all on the other side and transform it and tidy it up, and doing away with all of that admin and saying, hey, let's just all work with the same data in one environment, and it's cleaned up, it's ready to go. I think that is a huge step for a lot of organizations, and coming to understand it is governed, it is secure, is really important as well. And it actually brings us to one of the data marketplace announcements, which is
Ooh.
private preview, I believe.
Yep.
Our try before you buy. I just
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
put that out there because I just think that's a really cool thing to say, hey, let's look at this data first to see is it the right one that I want to work with before making the commitment. So yeah, I want to throw that in the mix.
Yeah. I think as far
Fantastic.
as getting the more adoption of the data marketplace concept, we keep making it easier and easier. I was really excited by the Snowflake Provider Studio, which is in private preview. It's going to make it even easier for companies who may have never thought about monetizing their data are going to have a really easy interface for doing that, and even be able to set up usage-based pricing, which
Yeah.
then is empowering on the customer side because they have the try before you buy that you just mentioned, Eva. Putting that all, making the data discoverable and usable very, very quickly, that it's going to be just a matter of seconds, really. And I know I've seen a couple of your demos, Eva, where how quick it is even today to go through and pick out a data provider, pick out a data set, click a few buttons, and you've got a data share in your database that you can start running queries against. And I know it's like all three of you have gone and done that in your demos.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
actually did that for my interview when I applied, for this job, because I'm like, I want to test this out and I want to play with it and see what I can do. And it was so easy that I'm like, oh, really? This is really cool. And it immediately gave me a flavor of what our customers can actually experience as well.
I'm so glad to see how data sharing in Snowflake got you an awesome job. So good move. Yes. Yeah. The other thing that was really exciting to see at Snowday was our partners tell the story of they started selling their data in the data marketplace to, and they're making money. It's a real business for a lot of people. There's a lot of business development in the Snowflake data marketplace, and that's exciting to see, like to show the potential and to make it grow for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been saying for years since we first introduced data sharing is I've been in data warehousing for almost 30 years now. And to be able to augment analytics with external data, it still blows my mind how easy it is using data sharing in the data marketplace that we have now with Snowflake. I mean, we were showing a customer this morning even how to do it, and it completely blew his mind because he hadn't even noticed it yet. And took him to the data market Snow site and clicked on it, and he had some data. He was wondering if it was there because he realized, hey, my company could use this kind of data if it was there. He queried it, and sure enough, there it was. And it was like 2 minutes and ready to go. And that's been a dream in the analytics world. And so you think about advanced analytics, machine learning, having broader access to external data sets that are out there to advance everything that people are working on. And it's made it so easy. I love not having to actually know a bunch of command line stuff to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, I love how in the comments Leonard had said the perfect word, governance.
Yeah.
How important is that?
And I love that he calls out, it's not just data sharing externally, it's also internally, between departments, or maybe if you have multiple companies within a group, being able to do that internally is really important because it helps break down the silos and actually get the company to work on data more effectively, and if data democratization is a goal, then that just, clears the path for that as well.
And the way I also look at it, when we share with our partners, so they actually have access to our analytics team. Whatever modeling we've done, cleansing, they get that by us sharing data with them. So I'm like, by now you have this much bigger team that is doing analytics and helping you get better curated data set.
And really, you're turning your data into a product, right? This is the whole concept of data as a product, and you take responsibility for the refresh of the data and the quality of the data, and assure your consumers that this is good data, and that involves trust, and it's building trust with your partners who are consuming the data, and it again makes their lives easier because you're preparing that all for them, and still has all the governance on it. I mean, I'm crazy fan of our governance features. So being able to do dynamic data masking and row access policies on top of all the role-based access control, and that it applies, these policies follow the data. So even if it's in a share or even if it's replicated, it's all going to be controlled. So it's still governed. So it's not like you're granting access to public to all this data. Unless of course it is public data, you can of course do that, but most companies' data is a little more sensitive than that. And we have those controls in there, and we keep growing that in the data governance area with like object dependencies that's now out in private preview, and the access history also in private preview, that those things are going to help us now manage lineage. So we can follow that data through its entire life within Snowflake and know where did the data go, who used the data, who accessed the data. And that's just going to help the data engineering teams so much more, as well as the data governance teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Felipe, you're still on the the Snowday wrap-up blog post, right? Are there other topics? We've heard about specific technical parts. We've talked about limiting silos, data sharing, marketplace, cross-cloud replication, governance. What else? It was a jam-packed day.
Yeah, I have to say one that I had completely ignored until last night. I was talking to the engineers on a feature I wanted, and the engineers at Snowflake were like, "Oh, you can do that with a Java store procedure." And I was like, "Do we have store procedures in Java?" And they were like, "Yes, we announced them yesterday." I completely missed the Java store procedures news, but that's really cool too. The ability to write more Java inside Snowflake, have store procedures, and have them process the unstructured data. That's something that I had missed until last night, even if I had seen all these announcements together.
Great.
I'm looking at the chat. I like this question. I think Kent would be awesome at answering it. Would you like to ask it, Eva? Should I ask it? The
Which
data sharing one.
Which one are you looking at?
Yeah.
Yes, data sharing and the marketplace are a great opportunity to commercialize your data to organizations that use Snowflake. What about organizations that do not use it? How easy it is for them?
Yeah, well, in the data sharing space, we have a thing called a reader account, and we've had customers doing that for several years now, where they provision a reader account that they manage for the consumer. If they don't have a Snowflake, they can still get access to the data via reader account. They can, point whatever tools they want. They could build an application on top of it using one of our many connectors. Point Tableau at it, point ThoughtSpot at it, point Power BI at it, and still have access to the data without having to have and manage a Snowflake account themselves. And in most of those cases, those data providers who are doing that, then they charge a subscription fee for accessing that account and the data. And so there is a way to do that without them having to have their own Snowflake account.
Exactly. And then they can have their own Snowflake account, but it's a great way to
get started.
Yes.
And we'd have to say, if they don't have a Snowflake account, why don't they have a Snowflake account, right, Veronica?
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you?
So before we wrap up, I actually want to ask Veronica, because talking to you today, but also yesterday, your enthusiasm is very palpable, and you clearly you had a great time watching Snowday and the announcements. What are you taking away from it in terms of what's next for you? What are you going to kind of use it for? Work on? Is there something you can share?
It's funny you say that. So my brain makes, I have been super excited. It's like second breath. I don't know, your runner probably have better, but over whatever 17 years, I kind of got to a point where it's like you just stale, like I know what I'm doing. It's blah. But then I transitioned to Snowflake and Data Vault, and now I'm like, oh, what else can I do? It's Snowflake's pushing the envelope, doing things differently, learning from before and old tech, and now pushing the envelope. So for me, it's always like, oh, this new stuff. How can I make the connection and do something that nobody else has done before? I am super excited about unstructured data. I would love to see where that takes us, how we can make use of it, how we can integrate it with other data. Python, yes, I will learn Python. I'm a SQL person. I can SQL anything out of anything. You ask me, which, by the way, call out to Snowflake for having SQL for everything. But Python, Snowpark, unstructured data, that's kind of where my mind's at right now. So we'll see where it goes.
Great. And any last words from Kent and Felipe before I have one very final question for Veronica?
I'm just
Nothing
glad to
for
have
me.
everyone here. Yes, exciting. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on LinkedIn, talk to us. We love sharing with the community and learning from you.
There's announcements every day, especially go to the Snowflake blog, so snowflake.com/blog. You see all the postings when they come up. You can subscribe to that so that you get the announcements. And it seems to me like we are doing a live webinar or workshop or something nearly every day in multiple regions around the world. So really kind of no excuse for not keeping up, other than you don't have enough time to keep up with everything that we're doing.
Great. Okay. And Veronica, last question for you. If we have audience members listening and watching who are like, okay, I'm ready to do my first steps with Snowflake, what's one tip you would give them?
Just get your free account. It's like the easiest thing in the world. Just sign up and you're there and start playing around. Honestly, that is the easiest thing you can do. And if you don't like it, great, but you'll love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all do. And I'm convinced they will enjoy it as well. So yeah, as Veronica mentioned, head over to the free trial as well, and do join us for the Python webinar. There's a link in the chat. And with that, we are at the end of our live stream. Thank you, all of you, for joining us, particularly Veronica, our data superhero. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.